The night is deep. Darkness has descended on the village sky like a black thread. A gentle breeze is blowing. The grass leaves are rustling on the riverbank. The trees are silent, as if someone has stifled their voices. The small village of Shantanagar is sleeping, but behind that sleep lies a strange secret. In a corner of Shantanagar, someone is looking out of the window of Princess Soraya's small house in the darkness. She herself does not know why she is shivering with an unknown cold from inside her chest that night. She never once thought that a snake hidden inside her body would fight for her life every night, wreaking havoc among the villagers and returning to her belly before the morning light. Soraya was undoubtedly the most beautiful, most innocent-faced princess in the village. She had long black hair, a sweet smile, and a sparkle in the depths of her eyes. But behind this appearance, a strange curse was hidden. Her grandmother sat in a shady corner of the house, holding an earthen torch in her hand, the red flames of small fires dancing in a single lung. A strange magical language slowly mixed with her voice, like an ancient mantra. Soraya's grandmother used to tell her a wonderful old story, which had been hidden in the secret darkness of the dynasty for centuries. Soraya, the grandmother said softly, the snake inside your body is no ordinary snake. It is a cursed spirit, which we call the snake of the night. It is a 1,000-year-old curse that runs through our lineage. Every night it goes out, wreaks havoc in the village, and returns before dawn. Soraya was startled, her eyes welling with unknown tears. Grandma, I can't take it anymore. As the night progresses, my body trembles more, and it feels like the snake is eating my soul from inside my stomach. Grandma looked at her with pitying eyes. To break this curse, all you need is faith and courage in your heart. And you are not alone. There is someone by your side who can give his life for you. Soraya felt like her heart was being torn apart. It was like a pain lost in a dream, which was eating her up every day. Arian was the bravest young man in the village. There was a sparkle in his eyes, and in his heart there was an unquenchable love for Soraya. He knew the secret of the snake hidden in Soraya's stomach in the village. Many times he tried to tell the villagers this, but everyone scolded him for being crazy. Tonight he decided that he would not remain silent anymore. He had to fight the curse. He could no longer consent to the rumors and ugly words that were spreading in the village. Arian quietly opened the door of the house and left. In his hand was an ancient pure iron knife, which his father had given him to fight against such dark forces. He knew that this might not be his last night, but he was prepared to do everything for his love. He walked along the village path towards Soraya's house, where the boredom and fear of the night seemed to mix like a strange shadow. At one end of the village, a terrible scream suddenly rang out from a house. The villagers woke up and rushed out of the windows. It turned out that a strange snake was wreaking havoc on people. The snake was big, black, and had red eyes. Some struck with knives, some lit fires, but the snake seemed indestructible. After the attack, the snake quickly retreated and flew away like an invisible force. In Soraya's heart, that snake seemed to be alive, entering her stomach again. She could not hold herself back, and fell to the ground crying. The sound of Soraya's crying merged into the deep solitude of the night. From inside her stomach, the snake seemed to be whistling repeatedly from the depths of her mind. Her body was no longer the same as before, a person who had lost strength, drowning in darkness. He knew that this was not just his nightmare, but reality. The shadow of death descended on the dark alleys of the village at night. But who would he go to? His parents had died many years ago, and as his grandmother had said, they were victims of an ancient family curse. Arian returned home and lost himself in old books. He knew that the roots of this curse were very old, probably centuries old. Princess Soraya's family had once been the owners of great power. But the curse of pursuing someone for power had changed their lives. It was written in ancient historical documents that the only way to break this curse was to find the blessing of fire silence, part of a mysterious magical poem. that could free the snake from its body through an ancient spell. In the eyes of the villagers, Aryan was fun. For them, he was just a crazy young man who was misunderstood and scolded. But his mind was right. He knew that there was a deep connection between Soraya and this curse, a love that would give her life or take it away. A strange melody was coming from Soraya's room, as if someone was listening to the pain of the snake hidden in her stomach. She got up again, looking at the night sky. A moonbeam fell on her eyes. The moonlight seemed to spread a thrill inside her mind. "I will not be afraid anymore," Soraya whispered. "I am no longer a prisoner of my own body." She knew that she had no one but Aryan. She chose to go to Aryan that night. He knew that maybe his love was the only key to his salvation. It was the last few moments of the night in Aryan's small room. He was searching for the formula to break the curse, the poem, and the imprint of that ancient spell. Suddenly, someone started knocking on the door. Aryan opened his eyes and caught a glimpse of Soraya standing there, a glimmer of hope in her eyes and a slow courage on her face. "Aryan, I need your help," he whispered. "I am here for you, Soraya," Aryan said firmly. "We will break this curse together after this night." From their first words, a new wind of hope began to blow. Together, they decided that the next day they would find all the old history and ancient spells hidden in the village. The next day, before the sun rose in the village, they went to the ancient library of the village panchayat, where centuries-old manuscripts were hidden. They saw a manuscript which detailed the Nishith Kalar snake and the blessing of fire silent. The writing contained a warning: if the attempt to break this curse fails, the princess's life will vanish like the sand of a river. At this juncture in the story, a strange crisis arises before them. Stranger from the village blocks their path. He introduces himself as Rabiu. The Rajpurish mysteriously says, "Going deeper into this curse means accepting death. Do you know what consequences it could have on your life?" Aryan and Soraya said fearlessly, "We are together. We will find the roots of this curse." Their journey began. On one side, love. On the other, the game of death and curse. Only time will tell whether they will be freed or will end up in the poison of the curse. The moonlight in the night sky was getting dimmer. Soraya and Aryan were sitting together inside the ancient library of the village. The rows of old, dusty books around them, the scent of leaves, and the light of candles mixed together to create a mysterious atmosphere. Their eyes were memorizing the manuscript that contained the method for breaking the curse. It says here that to break the curse, the blessing of fire silence must be recited on 3 specific nights. The 3rd, 7th, and 11th of the moon, Aryan said, his voice trembling with excitement. Soraya shook her head. "But we don't know the entire incantation. We only know half of it." "We must find out the rest," Aryan said. "But it won't be easy, because many people in the village still don't want to know the ancient secret. We have to take a lot of risks," Soraya said, a strange determination in her eyes. For a week, they searched the library and the village for ancient sources. They learned that the curse had begun centuries ago, when their ancestors had committed a wrongdoing. A magical snake had been captured, but the snake's curse had passed down through their lineage. During their search, strange things started happening in the village again. At night, some people saw the black snake roaming around, trying to set houses on fire and creating fear among the villagers. Soraya came to Aryan's house one night. There was sadness in her eyes and a deep worry in her mind. "Aryan, I feel that the snake is moving away from my body. It seems to be getting stronger. It is as if it is playing with my blood night after night," she said. Aryan held her hand. "We are together. I will not leave you. I will fight this curse until I am freed." As the moon shone brightly in the night sky, they began to recite the blessing of fire silence together. As soon as they heard the mantras, the wind stopped. A strange energy was felt around. Suddenly, a large snake appeared in the corner of the house with a hissing sound. Its eyes were glowing red, and a strange shadow was emanating from its body. Soraya started to tremble, but Arian held her hand tightly. The snake slowly started to enter Soraya's stomach, but it was stopped by the power of the spell. For a moment, the snake's red eyes turned towards Arian, as if to say, "Your fight will be tough." That night was the beginning of a new chapter for them. Soraya and Arian realized that the greatest weapon in the fight against this curse was not only the recitation of the spell, but the power of their love. The village seemed to become even more gloomy in the darkness. Both Soraya and Arian's eyes were shining in the darkness with the fire of a new oath. They knew that no matter how difficult the path to breaking this curse was, there was no question of giving up. Arian Soraya whispered, "We don't have much time left. When the 11th night of the next moon is over, the snake may become completely strong. Then the village will be destroyed." Arian lowered his head and said, "I will stay by your side as long as necessary. I will find out the reason for your suffering." A strange house in the corner of the village, where a small snake of darkness kept flapping its wings. That snake not only lived in Soraya's body, but secretly spread terror among the villagers. No one dared to approach that house. One day, Arian and Soraya bravely opened the door of that house. Entering inside, they saw an old minister's cabinet, where many secret manuscripts were kept. "Here may be the last key to the curse," said Arian. They opened the cabinet and saw an old document, which read, "The formula for the curse is hidden in the heart of the snake. Breaking the heart will bring liberation." "What does this mean?" Soraya asked. Arian said, "If the curse is hidden in Soraya's stomach, liberation is not possible without breaking her heart." Fear settled in their hearts, but they realized that with love and courage, they would face this deadly curse. That night, they went to the abandoned temple in the village, where a witch had once lost her powers. There was a gem hidden inside a cave that could help them. After entering the cave, the terrifying shadow of the snake became their companion. Suddenly, the snake came and surrounded them. Arian and Soraya recited the mantra together. A strange power flowed in the air. The snake slowly started to move away from them, but they realized that this was not the last fight. The love between them grew stronger, because they knew that only love could break the snake's curse. A new light of life shone in Soraya's eyes. Holding Arian's hand, she said, "I am not afraid anymore, because you are here." Towards the end of the story, their path took a new turn. They realized that this curse was not just for one person, but for the entire village and clan. Unknown dangers and heartbreaking tragedies awaited them. The rain was pouring down in the dark night of the village. The trees swayed in the light breeze, as if they too had a secret. Soraya and Arian, the two of them, were sitting together in front of the ruins of the old temple, where the cave that held the key to salvation was hidden. "We have a big fight ahead of us," Arian said. "There's only an ancient power in what the snake is doing, which is not easy to break." Soraya said, "I know, Arian, but I don't want to keep this curse inside me anymore. Death is better than this pain." Their brave journey began with entering the cave. The darkness of the cave was so deep that even the light of their candles seemed weak. As they entered, the smell of the air changed, as if some strange force was swirling around the room. Suddenly, a cold breeze blew from inside the cave. Soraya started shivering, but Arian held on to her hand tightly. "Do not be afraid, I am with you," she said. Deep inside the cave, they found an ancient stone that was closely associated with the snake. The stone read, "He who breaks the heart, breaks the snake's curse." "Is this our last hope?" Soraya asked. "Yes," Arian said. "This heartbreak must be not only physical, but also mental." Soraya realized that she had to release the pain of her mind and soul first. Then the snake would be free from her body. They then decided to come out of the cave and tell each other stories every day, share memories, and slowly release the toxic emotions inside. One night, Soraya and Arian left the village and went outside. They entered a forest, where the silence of the night spread around them. A mixture of love and fear was working in their hearts. Soraya, I know you have suffered a lot, but I will be by your side, Arian said. Together we will defeat this curse. Tears welled up in Soraya's eyes. If you are not here, I am nothing. Suddenly, they heard a strange sound. A black snake slowly came out from behind the tree, its eyes reddening as it looked at them. Is this the cursed snake again? Soraya suddenly shouted. Arian said calmly, Don't be afraid, this is our test. We have to have faith. The night was deep and quiet. It was as if invisible thorns had been laid around the village, from which there was no escape. Soraya and Arian sat together, lost in a strange thought. Would they really be able to break this curse? Do you think our love can defeat the power of this curse? Soraya asked with a smile, although countless tears were shining in her eyes. Arian placed his hand on hers and said, Love is always the most powerful weapon, and the greater the power of this love between us, the less the power of the curse will be. Soraya said with a light slogan, Then this journey of ours is not just a war, but a love story. In the darkness of the night, they entered the depths of the cave. The paintings on the walls of the cave seemed old but alive. One secret after another was being revealed. They realized that this curse had been living in the village for generations. Suddenly, a snake emerged from the deepest darkness of the cave, jumped to the ground with its tail, and made a strange sound. The snake seemed to be trying to take off in front of them on its wings. Is this the embodiment of that curse? Soraya said, trembling. Arian encouraged her. Don't be afraid. This snake has come not for us, but to test us. At the end of the cave was an ancient pillar, where the last part of the spell was engraved. That spell was very mysterious. To understand its meaning, they returned to the village the next day and researched. The arrival of the evening brought a new ray of hope. Their faith grew that one day they would be able to break this curse. One day, Soraya had a dream in which an old story appeared, where a princess loved a magical snake, but the princess suffered repeatedly due to the snake's curse. Soraya woke up from her dream and said, The story could be the key to our salvation. Arian said, Then we have to find out the secret of that story. A new power was slowly being born in their love. The snake seemed to be becoming more aggressive in the dead of night, but there was never any fear in their hearts. The story was taking a beautiful turn with a mixture of mystery, thrill, and love. This battle was not only physical, but also a battle of the mind and soul. A soft melody was breaking through the silence of the night. Soraya and Arian woke up and realized that it was time to face all their pain and suffering. Arian, this curse is not only mine, but the entire village and clan, Soraya said. Let this fight not end for us. Arian bowed his head. So today we will search for the mysterious book that is the source of this curse. If we can get it, liberation is possible. They set out late at night towards an ancient library, spread out some distance from the village, where there were books and manuscripts that were many centuries old. As soon as they entered the library, the air seemed to cool down. Among the many books, their eyes fell on a special book, which was written, The Curse of the Snake, the terrible truth within the princess. Soraya began to read. Although she was terrified, hidden in the pages of the book was the history of an episode, which told about the secret crimes of the villagers' ancestors. After reading the book, they realized that the snake hidden in the princess's stomach was actually a cursed spirit, which returned to the village every day to wreak havoc. The liberation of this spirit would be possible only when there was no other way but to break the curse. Arian said, Our time is up now. We will decide how to bring peace to this cursed soul. A strange power arose in Soraya's heart. She took Arian's hand and said, I am no longer afraid, because I am strong in your love. Their journey continued towards a new dawn, where there would be mystery, love, and the shadow of death. It was late at night. The village seemed to be at peace, but Soraya and Arian felt a strange excitement and unknown fear. They knew that their journey was not over yet. Rather, it was the beginning of a new chapter. Soraya, Aaron said, "Do you think we haven't figured out the real secret of this curse yet?" Soraya slowly nodded her head. "Yes, I think it's no ordinary curse. It's a secret part of our souls, which maybe we ourselves haven't figured out." The two decided to go deeper, the secret room of the ancient temple, where no one had ever entered. In the ruins of the temple, there was a broken staircase that led down into the depths of darkness. A strange smell was coming from there, a mixture of soil, dirty leaves, and some unknown poisonous gas. They held each other's hands and started to descend. As they entered the dark room, their eyes fell on an ancient wall carved with images. The images depicted a princess with an invisible snake writhing in her stomach. On one side was written, in an old language, "The soul that breaks this curse will understand the meaning of true love." Soraya paused for a moment. "Is our love really that strong?" she asked herself. Suddenly, a mysterious line of light emerged from the wall, and the room was filled with a strange, warm, and cold feeling. Arian said boldly. They walked forward along the dark path. The light grew larger and larger, and they felt as if some power was calling them to the beginning of a new chapter. At the end of the night, they reached a small room that had an ancient vault-like structure, inside which was a kind of protected box. Soraya opened the box with trembling hands. Inside the box was a golden locket and a hanging letter. The letter read, "The power is actually hidden deep in love. This locket will show you the true path to your heart." This locket and letter seemed to awaken a new faith and hope in their minds. They knew that the greatest test of their journey was now coming, the first step to breaking the curse. Soraya and Arian looked into each other's eyes and said, "If we are together, we can do anything except this curse." In the darkness of the night, Soraya and Arian were returning to the village with the golden locket. Deep determination and hope were burning in their hearts. But there was also an invisible fear, as if someone or something wanted to block their path to freedom. Walking along the village path, they reached the edge of the old pond, where the shadow of the curse had first fallen. The reflection of the snake seemed to be shimmering in the water of the pond. "This pond was the birthplace of the curse," Arian said. "It all started from here." Soraya touched the locket with her hand, which seemed to radiate warmth to her body. Suddenly, the image of a huge snake appeared in the pond water, as if it was saying, "Your love is the only key to freedom." Suddenly, a shadow began to move in the gap between the trees. They became alert. As they approached the shadow, they saw an old man of the village, whose eyes had a touch of magical power. "The locket you have received contains the power that can break the curse," the old man said. "But be careful. The snake's curse will not go away easily. Your test begins tonight." Soraya and Arian held hands and said, "We are ready." The old man got up in the darkness, and fear and courage rose together in their hearts. In the last moments of the night, they realized that this journey had only just begun. Many more obstacles awaited them to get rid of the darkness of the curse. Under the cloudy night sky, the village seemed to be listening to a silent music, a mysterious song, where there was hope for love and a shadow of fear. Soraya and Arian stood by the old pond, where tonight was the most important night of their lives. "Soraya," Arian said, "the power of our love will now pierce all the darkness. I believe we will be free." Soraya lightly tied the gold locket around her neck. From that moment on, the poisonous shadow of the snake hidden in her stomach began to diminish little by little. A bright glow spread across the water of the pond. The shadow of the snake floated on the water, and it slowly approached Soraya. "You are free," the snake hissed. "You have given me peace through your love." The snake sneezed once and broke itself, and immediately became a sparkling bubble of light. The light embraced Soraya's body, as if all the poisonous wounds began to subside. Arian placed his hand on her shoulder and said, "You are free from today. And peace will return to this village too." Soraya smiled. That smile that was a symbol of freedom, love, and new life. The villagers also began to realize one by one that the darkness of that terrible curse was receding. They slowly started returning to normal life.